We are at number 9 of the top PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 split screen and couch co-op games of all time. It is Helldivers. We are finally here. What a classic twin stick. Could be one of my earliest PlayStation 4 memories. Certainly one of my earlier PlayStation Network memories. I have really tried to avoid any film references in this one, but this is Starship Troopers almost, with this corporate, capitalist, super Earth design with almost fascist-like uniforms and propaganda. It's a very cool backstory and setup. The game is from Arrowhead Studios, and it makes you feel with this intro like you're stepping into quite a well-built world, like things have been thought about and it's not just some little indie game. This has got quality all over it, beautiful looking designs on the characters. Before you'd pushed a single button, you knew you were dealing with something special when Helldivers fired up.
A legend.
Alright, let's get to the meta, because this is more than a twin stick game. Obviously ground in a brilliant sci-fi universe. You have a choice of planet that you visit. It can be one of 3 races. Now this is the first thing that knocked me back, was how fleshed out the 3 races, almost like Warhammer level of differential with these guys. You've got the bugs, i.e. the Starship Geiger / Killer Lobster aliens. You've also got robotic, future-style, very advanced Android SY. Everything looks very clean and dangerous. So then you've got these ragtag, almost junk-style robots who are like brutish, orcish direction. A real good contrast of 3 amazing races to fight. You'll notice, and the clue is also in the name, that everything's coming in from above. You yourself come in, you and your team will be dropped in, and any supplies or health, special perks, robots, will all have to be dropped in at the start of the level. This creates such chaos because a drop can kill you. You can't be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's instant death. This just breeds all manner of panic because you need room, you need time. Some drops take longer than others, and you have to remember sometimes quite a complicated series of button inputs.
Let's wait. Dropping
The game also comes with a very addictive skill point system, and finishing a level, getting your XP, getting to the next rung of rank that gives you access to more badass weaponry and armor and look. It all bowls in to make the game quite a solid RPG experience. Nearly spilled my coffee. All of this is done in the Start Hub, which has also got your little tubes that you get fired down to the planet from, and you can also decide where you want to be dropped. I love the idea of this. You can start molding your experience by just going straight next to the objective, or do what I do and try and be, out the way in the corner, not disturbing anything. It never works out. Helldivers knows you're trying to do that and will just swamp you early doors. This is just so good. It feels procedural. It feels like an AI director. You never have the same game twice with spawn points and enemies. And they also have an alert system, which means if you bugger about, don't get rid of them all, they'll just call in a hell of a lot more and things get a lot worse. This is us just getting our crap together at the start of a mission. And that brings me on to its next unique selling point, a compulsory friendly fire mode. You cannot take this off, and half of the game's ideas are spawned by not being able to fire at something because your mate's standing square in the way. It also incorporates this into the controls on a genius level, giving almost like an ascent 2-tier combat, meaning if you're crawling around on your stomach after hitting the square button, you can't be hit by any fire above your head. You'll be having to do it constantly with someone who's not really aware of those rules, because you'll get dropped so fast if you take friendly fire on board, and the better your gun, technically, the more dangerous it is to everybody else on pitch. Very quick touch on environmental map differential. You don't see any gotta drink water in a desert or wear different attire on the cold worlds, but you do see some really cool volcanic behavior and some nice variation in greenery. You go to quite a lot of different planets. You also go to a freaking bug homeworld, and this game is full of bosses, really scary ones. You get a jetpack, spoiler alert. Here's our next point, and you may have noticed it from the footage. The game is ridiculously difficult. The game does not care if you are not having a good time. It's too busy being Helldivers. It's your job to make sure you smash it and get through the levels and get better equipment, because it just will not stop being horrible to you. It loves it so much. That attracts me massively. What's it? Stockholm Syndrome almost, because when we discovered this, to have it online or to have it local co-op doesn't change anything, it's still just as good. And have someone else try and sort of fight this, what seems to be unwinnable fight, is what I think good local co-op is all about.
Reloading.
Its mission structure is worth talking about. You have different tasks on the map. It randomizes this as well. Some of them might be hack a sort of missile, silo, or it might be protect an area, or even deliver a briefcase, and that's the nightmare scenario because one of you has got their main weapon taken away and moves a bit slower. It's an escort style mission, and this is re-rolled so well that you're never really thinking, oh, I've got this again. I suppose we should talk about the vehicles and how awesome the mechs are, the tank, the jumpsuit, everything that's called in is opened up by developing your character, and it gets so amazing. But you do have a complicated button input, and pulling these things in mid-combat can be very difficult. But once you're all on board, things just go absolutely crazy. It goes full smash TV and throws the kitchen sink at you. But it's great fun because your vehicle can just crush things under your feet. Again, there is still friendly fire. You will be hitting that square button a lot if you've got an inexperienced friend firing liberally their milligun right across the entire map screen. We did have a little switcheroo on roles within the tank. It does take 2 Helldivers, it's pretty amazing. And getting your head round the controls with the 2 sticks, i.e. you have actual tank controls. Both sticks forward, full steam ahead. 1 stick forward does the turn in the relative direction. Both sticks back is reverse. I was like, whoa, why don't all games have their tank controls like that? Slight friendly fire incident there, and yes, you guessed it. If your other player is lost, you then have to call them in with a beacon that takes time to throw and to drop in, and you've got to avoid where it drops in until you get them back. And the game will sometimes be like, this ain't happening. This ain't happening today. It needs to be credited for having online and couch co-op blended flawlessly into the gameplay model. You can call in a random by putting down an SOS beacon. Remember, there are trolls out there, and pulling a random into this game can just result in a versus twin stick shooter where everybody's just trying to kill everybody because someone shot someone in the back of the head by accident. It also has this strange live action war going on, so whenever you log in, you're sort of brought up to speed. It acts as a sort of reroll system on what galaxy you get to visit, meaning you won't always be having to be in the bug system. I think all 3 races have their home world, so the objective is for that mini season to try and get to the end of that campaign structure. I have also left the PlayStation 5 mention to the end of the video. This does have some semi-boosts with the machine, giving you 4K and a PEG 60 is totally noticeable with it as well. Helldivers was never a performance offender, but it's great to have that lick of quality. I have been Couch Coop. I will see you down there for number 8.